Hello everybody and welcome to week 6. I just wanted to have a quick little video where I introduce your next writing assignment, and that will be the critical thinking essay. So I didn't write down all of your due dates for this assignment because this will follow the typical pattern that you've seen on your previous writing assignments. So you'll have 2 drafts due this week and next week on the midweek deadline, and then your final draft of this paper will be due for your end of week deadline for lesson 7, so next week. So I wanted to give you a little short heads up. Next week during week 7, you also will be doing a short reflection on the speaking partner assignment. So it's totally doable to be finishing up your final draft of your critical thinking essay and then also do your speaking partner assignment. It shouldn't be impossible for you, but just make sure that you get a good start on your essay this week, and that you maybe begin editing before the end of the week, and just make sure that you're managing your time effectively so that you can feel confident in doing both of those things. Okay, so in previous weeks, I've tried to help you brainstorm what you want to write about. This assignment is a teeny bit different because we've already given you these 5 specific questions for you to write about. So pick one of these, stick with these questions, and these are listed on your writing assignment description directions page. So they'll go there for more information. This is your first paper where you're taking a very clear stance on an issue. And so to help you, we've narrowed it down to very specific topics. So when it comes to brainstorming, the advice that I would give to you is to pick something that when you read through these, that elicits an emotional response in you, something that's important to you. So maybe you're from a country where the refugee issue is something that you've been thinking about, and if that's something you're really interested in now, then write about that. For me personally, I'm the gospel doctrine teacher right now, and we're teaching Old Testament, and I've seen a lot of information just about how we should consider commandments. So this second topic is something that I've been thinking about lately, so maybe I would write about that. Try not to write out something that you're totally lukewarm about, unless you feel like you're able to do some research and have some conversations with people in your life and you're able to get excited about your topic. We do want you to stick to these, so make sure you do that. But yeah, dig deep into them until you really know for sure what your position is, and write authentically about something that's important to you. That would be the advice that I have for you. Okay, I always want to make sure that you're looking at the rubric before we start writing. You will notice here that lots of this rubric is based upon your success at organizing your paper. So 20 points is given for the first paragraph, so an introduction. I need to know what you're talking about and what is your answer or your thesis, so what specifically is your position. I also want you to end on a strong note, so give me a conclusion. In the past, sometimes I've seen that when we reach the word limit, we just kind of want to give a sentence and be done. But I would like to see a conclusion from you that indicates the larger significance of this issue. Why does what you think matter? Tell me why this matters. Your largest point value is supporting your thesis. So you need to do a little bit of thought putting into how you want to organize that, your supporting information. We're also acknowledging and refuting an opposing viewpoint. We'll talk about that. That's a little bit different, but we'll talk about how you can do that. Okay, so sometimes I like to clarify assignments by contrasting them to what we've done before. So this assignment is different than this, I believe. I know some of you are probably thinking, well, like I just wrote a paper about, something that was important to me and what I think, right? But this is going to be a little bit different, especially in tone. So in your This I Believe paper, you probably used the word I. You probably said, I believe this. For this paper, your critical thinking assignment, we want you to do something a little bit different. Write in the third person, not the first person. All that means is that you don't use the word I. The reason that we do that is because we're kind of writing with a more formal tone, because it allows us to write for a more sort of academic audience, and it gives our paper and our opinions a certain kind of weight that you might miss if you're just saying, well, I think kind of this. So instead of saying, I think this, just go ahead and say, this is true. So instead of saying, I think commandments are important, I mean, that's nice. That's important. That's nice. But you can just come out and say, commandments are not merely guidelines, but rather they're absolute truths that cannot be changed based on the opinions of man. This little sentence I've given you comes directly from the student example, the very first student example on your first draft directions page. I hope you're always looking at those when you can. So remember, we're going to write with a formal attitude and not use the word I in order to give our paper some weight and some credence here. Okay, another way that this assignment's different than this, I believe, we need you to address counter arguments. So we all have like an acquaintance or a family member or maybe another student in our class who, whenever we're thinking about things and just kind of thinking out loud, they say, yeah, well, have you thought about this? So what we want you to do is anticipate how somebody might disagree with you. And then you can come out and you can say, yes, I have thought about that. And by the way, this is my opinion. When you address counter arguments, it allows you to demonstrate that you've thought deeply about your subject, that you have an answer for what people are considering when they want to talk about your topic, and that you are being conscious of what's important to other people, and that you're going to address that in a respectful way. So again, here's an example that comes from that student paper. Just kind of, again, it's all about anticipating how somebody might disagree with you and answering that question. And here's where you could go look in that first student paper for an example on that. Okay, so if you want to have sources to support your argument, which is a great idea, you don't necessarily have to pull in a ton of background research, but it's a good idea to have to think about how you want to back up what you're saying. A lot of these topics are spiritual, so you can definitely use scriptures or conference talks and write as if you're addressing a mostly LDS audience. We're kind of addressing like our class for this paper. You can also use current events, newspaper articles, things you've noticed in the news that are regarding your topic that you think are interesting. I've noticed that a lot of you pull in quotes in your discussion boards, which I think is great. If you want to kind of appeal to a sense of authority, then quoting somebody who's well known or who has studied your topic will always help you to get there. So there's a lot of places you can go for sources. Okay, really quickly, last but not least, we're going to talk about how to cite. If you pull in outside sources, I need you to cite in MLA format. So there's two aspects of citing in that way. You need an in-text citation and then a works cited page. So in text is exactly what it sounds like. You need to, in parentheses after your citation, sorry, after your source, in parentheses after you just tell me where you got that. Give me the best information you have about where this information came before the period. And then after, on a works cited page, you would refer back to everything, all the sources that you had in your paper. So I'm going to show you really quickly, sorry about that, a place where you can go for information on this. This is the OWL Purdue. I had the link in my PowerPoint, and I will also put this on the announcement. This is the online writing center for Purdue University, and it's excellent for MLA and also for APA. So what you're going to do is you're going to go here. This is your link. On this left-hand side, you can basically, pick anything you want. So let's say that I have a book I want to cite. Here's basic format information. Let's say I have an electronic source like a journal article that I got online. If you click on any of those, it will tell you how to cite that. Then for anything that you have cited, you need to also have your works cited page. So you just follow the example that they give you of how to cite, and then you will follow their example on their works cited, and this will be in a separate page after your essay is finished. So I hope that's clear. If you have any questions, feel free to send it to me. I can look at what you've done and I can help you out with that. So I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope that you all have a good week as you write and